All right. Good morning, everyone. So, bioconvergence and ophthalmology. This is I've been hearing that not too many people are aware of bioconvergence. I will give truly a 5 minutes outlook as to what do we mean by bioconvergence, and then obviously combine it to ophthalmology. So, if you look into various ways to think of bioconvergence, it's actually the biology. That's the right. If you see into the graph, can you see the slides? You guys can put it on?
Yeah, they are good. They are good. Not here.
Right, you can see. Beautiful. So on the right, we're talking about biology, typical biology, the historical biology. And on the left, it's everything that we basically do in terms of engineering, anything that has to do with data. And the combination of biology and engineering, this is actually creating the convergence of bioconvergence. It is a multidisciplinary approach to treat not just ophthalmology issues, but rather anything even outside of the healthcare industry. When we look into, basically various applications within healthcare, you can talk about drug delivery, nanorobotics for drug delivery, anything that has to do with regenerative medicine, the diagnostic. Eventually, you may be seeing a diagnostic tool, but the core technology within that will be composed out of a bioconvergence technology. Optogenetics, of course, bioelectronics, and any engineering materials and material science, all of which are converging, physics, chemistry, converging into biology. That convergence will be resulted in a bioconvergence way. In terms of market size, it is estimated to be this last year $144 billion and about to grow to 2030 to $215 billion market. And the growth has been driven by the integration of biology into AI, into engineering, and into the nanotechnology space. Regions, in the various regions that we are talking about, Europe is the largest, including, by the way, Israel has been included in that, where we come from. About 30% of the bioconvergence market at the moment, it is related to the European market. North America, we should see a growth almost doubling it from $38 to $59 million in 2030. In Asia Pacific, Singapore included, of course, rapid growth both in China and Japan, as well as elsewhere. The key segments within bioconvergence that we're looking into, and I'm talking about the key ones because it obviously touches many, many aspects: drug discovery and development, which is the largest segment, regenerative medicine, cells and 3D printing, nanorobotics, of course, bioelectronics, and diagnostic and biological sensors. One can imagine, the amounts of capacity and use cases that could be translated out of those technologies, amazing technologies. Just to give you an illustration of how it has started, part of the Israeli Innovation Authority definition and obviously elsewhere. But the way we look at it in the Israeli market, it was identified actually as a national strategic priority, parallel to digital health. This has taken place some years ago and supported by the Israeli Innovation Authority. Actually, for those companies within the Israeli market who have been defined as bioconvergence, they do get additional funding from the Israeli government in order to push and advance faster their market entry. So the trajectory, rapid startups growth and global collaboration, the Israeli healthcare bioconvergence market is currently estimated to be about $1 billion and looking to grow into $1.6 billion in 2030. And the drug discovery, obviously nanorobotic and precision medicine are the top key segments. Now diving into ophthalmology, there are a few segments within ophthalmology and bioconvergence that we can look into. CorNeat, which Almog will be talking about, the CEO of CorNeat. Precise Bio, those are Israeli examples, but all of which represents and illustrates what do we mean by bioconvergence, and there are a few other companies. So one, regenerative medicine. Another vertical, another sector is the intraocular drug delivery system, companies such as Ion and LiveCare and various other companies. And the last vertical within that would be the cutting edge technology, such as nanoretina and nanodrops, whereby Daria is actually one of the panel members, and she will be talking about it. So with that introduction, I'm now moving to the panel itself. Thank you. So my colleagues and partners for this panel. Why don't we go and each one will give a short intro about himself or herself and what you guys do in each of those companies. Linna, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm Linna Fu. My background is ophthalmologist. I'm an eye doctor myself. 19 years ago, I've decided to join STAAR Surgical. The only reason I did that because the appealing technology. It called ICL. ICL stands for implantable contact lens. It's kind of lens into your eye to correct the vision. So it's unlike the LASIK surgery. It's cut your cornea and change the lights and correct the vision. So as a doctor, as a medical director in a hospital, I've seen so many high myopia patients want to seeking the visual freedom, get rid of glasses, change their life, but cannot be treated by LASIK just because that. So I say, oh, this technology is very interesting. But at that time, the lens technology has a lot of suspicion because the long-term safety. So I started from there. Now, 19 years later, our company, STAAR Surgical, which is a U.S. and a Swiss-based company, decided it's like we are getting rid of another product. ICL become the only product for our company, and we have already created this lens-based technology for the refractive. And China represent 60% of the global business, and Asia represent about 85% of the business. And Europe is about 15, and the US about 5. So I would say we have come a long way to change our very niche market innovation product to the main stage to compete directly with LASIK to become the mainstream of refractive surgery technology.
And Linna, you would be the corporate, representing the corporate, being a company of about 1,000 people, right? Yes. So in this panel, as opposed to the others who come up with a startup notion, you will be so-called representing the corporate side and how you got to become a so-called the corporate.
Yes.
Almog, CorNeat, please.
Yes, so I'm currently managing CorNeat Vision, but I'm also the VP R&D. Previous to CorNeat, I actually managed a high-tech startup from inception to an exit and grew a $100 million business. So coming into the medtech space, I bring the experience of how a high-tech company works, bringing a lot of technology into this space. So CorNeat Vision started 8 years ago as an artificial cornea company. Our device enables corneally blind patients to completely rehabilitate their vision without the need for donor tissue. And if you look at the challenges in terms of making something like that happen, it all evolved around the ability to permanently integrate synthetic materials, a lens, to resident ocular tissue, a living tissue. And that was not feasible before. Our core technology is actually this material technology that when implanted, triggers cells to proliferate and embed the device within the surrounding tissue and avoid the foreign body response. And that technology have a lot of application in ophthalmology and beyond. And today we actually have 3 products in ophthalmology and IP that extends to other areas of surgery to enable this technology to bring about new solutions to other fields.
Cool. Thank you. Daria, please.
Hi, I'm Daria Lemann-Blumenthal. I'm the CEO of Nanodrops. I joined the company after exiting to Alcon with my previous company, Belkin Vision. I led Belkin Vision for 11 years. So I know a bit about the journey of a startup from inception to acquisition. At Nanodrops, we are doing this is an amazing concept, new concept for vision correction. We are not reshaping the cornea. We are not changing the structure of the cornea. We are doing micro imprinting on the epithelium, the surface of the cornea, using nanoparticles to maintain the pattern that actually mimics the glasses, the prescription of the patient. And the beautiful advantage and value proposition is the fact that our procedure is adjustable. It can be repeated, and it is reversible, something that does not exist so far. Our first entry to market would be with presbyopia indication, but we also correct myopia down the pipeline. Thanks.
Thank you. Enrique, please.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for the invitation. So I'm Enrique Vega. I'm Spanish origin. I've been in medical devices since the very beginning, and the last 5 years in ophthalmology. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Azalea Vision. We are developing what it will become the first smart contact lens or lens embedded system. We are capable of introducing inside a contact lens nanoelectronics, which are as thin as a third of a human hair. So we are talking about 30 microns. These microelectronics are so thin that they are flexible. They can be thermoformed to the shape of the contact lens. They can be also at the same time, if you want, even transparent because they are so thin. They are powered by an internal battery. We have also an ASIC. These components are, let's say, 1 square millimeter, so really minimalistic. And we are able to introduce many functions inside the contact lens with this platform, if you want. We are starting by putting inside a diaphragm created by liquid crystal. We can activate rings of different sizes, which means that we can extend the depth of field and treat patients with presbyopia through a pinhole. We can filter out aberrated light and treat patients with corneal aberrations. Or we can also put the device in an autonomous way and treat patients with light sensitivity or photophobia. That's just the beginning of the first technological platform, and we are aiming to move forward to biosensors and digital therapies.
Cool. Linna, as one who introduced ICL technology to the Chinese market, you've gone through the entire process of building up a company and basically, I would say, choosing the right partners in each step of the way, you know, having been a startup and then building up so-called a corporate. What would be your insights and recommendation as to the various stages? How do you search and define the right partners, and how you eventually choose those to become a successful company?
First of all, I think as a company, you have to have a clear thought. What's your step one? So I think for the new product or for a product that is not very competitive, it's a new area. You have to know that you get into the KOL first. Which market you want to get? It's not the agency, it's not the distributor. You have to get the KOLs competing. So as myself, I'm already know that the China need the super high myopia as an entry point. So we start working with the KOL. Actually, at the beginning, the distributor don't want to work with us because they don't think that's a future. So we are just very simple way. We work with the KOLs, connect the data, and then
KOL who are advisors to the government. KOL.
No. Actually, this is because this is a cash pay. It's not really related on the government policy get reimbursement. It's just simply get those patients and it gets very good patient satisfaction. So, I mean, the doctors really have the daily contact with them, and then get the data and decide what's the step. And then we get the super high myopia data good. We have to decide if this will goes to reimbursement or just stay in the cash pay. Mm-hmm. So because the good data, we say this is good for the whole range of the corrections, we stay in the cash pay. Mm-hmm. And that time, and then we will leading the distributor, distributor and the doctor. Mostly they just want to do easy job, right? Mm-hmm. So the distributor just need to focus and we train them. So I think the for processes as a company, as ourselves, we need to have a very clear strategy. What is step 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah. Moving to you, Almog, you just mentioned that there are various use cases with your core technology. So was it a stage of hesitation initially of which one to choose, or you had from day one the right first killer app, if you will, and then you have taken it further to the other use cases? Because there's always a question of whether you're defocusing yourself and showing a potential to the, to your investors and LPs, or you want to start with a very clear use case that you believe in.
So originally we were a one product wonder company. We had this artificial cornea. Everything was simple, the path to market, the regulatory process. But as we were through the preclinical trial, and one of the KOLs that was involved in that was exposed to the amazing results of this tissue integrating technology, then came the ask, hey, can I get a little piece of this skirt and use it instead of tissue in ocular surface surgery? And we looked at it and said, well, there's almost no R&D here. And going to market with something like that will bring us with early revenues, will allow us to actually learn and even do mistakes without risking our main product, regulatory, reimbursement, distribution. This little product, although it doesn't have a huge market, allows the company to kind of mature in advance of the introduction of its main product. So that's how we diverted from one product company to ophthalmic implants company. And we take it that a step further. And now with the glaucoma solution, we actually have 3 products. But if you manage a startup company that develop a high-risk implant, you'd probably know that every step of your way, you need different type of people. Originally, you need the innovators, the entrepreneurs, right? The physician. Then you need the biologists to do the biocompatibility and the preclinical testing. And then you move to the clinical. And then you need to do manufacturing. So how do you keep your team if you need different people, different time? This is not a software company. And actually, by having several products in different stages, you allow yourself to continuously build value and grow a robust team that can take a product based on your core technology through the process and all the way to the market. So if you want to build something big, if you want to extract the value of this platform technology, you cannot just stay with the platform and have others develop it, but rather it works like a train, build the value continuously.
Beautiful. Daria, I think that Nanodrops stands for truly the definition of bioconvergence. You have the laser, which represents so-called the physics. You have the drops, which represent the biology, and altogether you have the bioconvergence, which we are talking about. Can you please elaborate what is so unique about this concept that actually represents something that could solve other problems that maybe other technology were unable to solve?
So if you want to treat, if you want to do vision correction, but you don't want permanent change or something that is irreversible, you have to treat only the epithelium, and the epithelium recovers. So those here who understand something about biology understand that if we do etching on the epithelium, how do we maintain the pattern? And the way to maintain this pattern is with nanoparticles. So this is, again, the perfect mixture of laser optics, nanoparticles technology. You have also software, the laser itself. And I do want to mention that there is a beautiful mixture with the business model, which is amazing because you have a repeatable procedure. You give the patients options. You give the patients access to choice. They can choose between biodegradable nanoparticles, which means that they can repeat, they have a preview treatment of what's it's going to be, and they can adjust their vision needs, or they can choose a permanent a treatment that is reversible by choosing an alternative nanoparticles that are metal-based. So you have here a very nice a choice, you have a very good business model, and you have bioconvergence with the technology itself.
And a little bit about the business model, the uniqueness of the business model. It's always like, when we talk about technologies as investors, some of those entrepreneurs come to us and say, this is an amazing technology. And to some extent, we do get excited. We see that could be a very disruptive one. Nonetheless, it's always, the end of the day, the business model. Can you share with us your business model a little bit?
So basically, we have two paths here. One is you can use the current refractive lasers, the excimer laser, with Nanodrops technology. So you don't have to acquire, again, expensive equipment, but you have the procedural pack, which actually contains the pattern itself, and the laser does a scanning and creates the pattern on the epithelium, on the cornea, and you have the nanoparticles, the vials themselves. So you have a very straightforward recurring revenue business model.
And Enrique, you've been pushing, a very disruptive technology as well, and as one that stands within the European markets and possibly seeing the way, or envisioning how the way people will see in the future. There's been so many discussions about machine-human interfaces, and ophthalmology gets within that, or you see that this is a bit far away to be integrated to those technologies?
Yeah. I mean, it's true that there is a lot of hype, and when we talk about smart lenses, we always think about AR, VR, or having our Netflix account in the eyes. This is not going to come very soon. Mm-hmm. With the approach we are having is an approach which is building the baseline first and starting by a medical application that makes sense. The main thing that we are doing is that we are moving from a passive, by definition, a contact lens is passive. We are moving to an intelligent system that is first having a function for a group of patients that have a need. We are capable to adapt the vision. So we are moving from passive to an intelligent system, so that we can accommodate for the patient depending on different parameters. As an example, we can accommodate the treatment depending on the amount of light. Here, with this big light, our device will adapt and have the capacity to diminish and filter out the light. This is for the first application. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the device is connected. So we are connecting, we have an NFC antenna, and we are connecting with our smartphones. So we will be able to interact the device with the smartphone, either for the patient to decide how to use it, or for the physician, the optometrist, to program the device in an easy way. So the wearable concept and the wireless communication will put us, but always with a focus on medical devices. And of course, we will start with concrete applications like corneal irregularities, because we can filter out the aberrations, but we can move to presbyopia really easily with a pinhole effect, extending the depth of field. We can manage sensitivity of the light for different patients, and that's only with the first platform. And moving forward, we can add biosensing, and we can add eventually drug delivery, which will then close the loop for issues like glaucoma, or we can talk about a dry eye. So there is a lot of things that will happen. We will not reach in the next 5 years to an AR, VR, where we see anything on the device. It will come, but it will take a certain time.
And do you see bioconvergence, then again, bioconvergence becoming a mainstream, or still within 5 to 10 years, still remain, a niche market, maybe with some very successful companies, those who were able to go through the ups and downs of regulations and market access and so forth? But do you see it becoming a mainstream?
I don't know if it is a mainstream. I mean, depends on where you put the bar and how you measure that. I believe there is value on particular applications for people that have a need, an unmet need. There are patients that see badly. They are considered low vision patients, legally blind, that can have some of the applications that we are discussing here, and particularly applications related with light. So I am sure we will have applications that will solve patients Now, if we call this mainstream or not, that is something which we can discuss.
So we still have 5 minutes. I want to touch different aspects, not so much the technology itself, not so much the ophthalmology itself, but rather the market. The capital point of view, exits, and adaptation of those technologies, or being embraced or being able to embrace those technologies within various corporates. So each one of you, please, kind of an indication of how you foresee your exit path or market players in China, let it be in your case, Linna, that might potentially will acquire companies, let it be Bio-Convergence or let it be others, Almog and Daria and Enrique as well, how you foresee exit path. Not necessarily your company if you want to, but let it be so, or others becoming and maturing into becoming a validated, acceptable technologies in the marketplace. Linna, please.
So I just want to say, engineer, they have many crazy thoughts that if you want to have an innovation product, you have to think that what is the key point you are differentiate with any others and start it from there and grow from there and make your business meaningful for your partner. And then they will grow from there.
Differentiation, both to the technology as well as to the business model, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
You cannot do everything. Just do one thing good.
Okay, Almog.
Yeah. So the unique value proposition of our material technology actually established a situation where we can, depending on funding, continuously generate value for our investors. With this 3 ophthalmic product portfolio and a first project outside ophthalmology, we're on a path to build something that can certainly go IPO because we are dealing with critical needs, a totally new technology that can embed additional technologies into it. And every surgeon we meet come with a few more applications for it. So as time goes by and as we analyze the situation, there's an IPO path that is opening for us. Whereas as a single product company, it was all about exiting to a strategic, find it the right way and doing it like the classic way.
It's a good point. Thank you. Daria, please.
So, today when young entrepreneurs ask me what do they have to think about when they establish a new company, I always tell them to look from top to bottom. So first you have to identify the market. Some people, most people, scientists, doctors, entrepreneurs, they are sure they have the best technology and they start to develop the technology without thinking about who is going to pay for the technology, who is going to buy the technology, is there a need in the market? And my opinion is that this is the first question that has to be asked when you look on new companies. And when I look, for example, on Nanodrops, I'm thinking, okay, this is out-of-pocket a product, a treatment, and will there be a need? And of course, first of all, I'm asking the doctors, refractive centers, the people that have to pay for this. I need to understand that there is someone who is willing to pay. Now, at Belkin Vision, I must say, we never looked at exit as a purpose. You look on an exit as a mean to bring your technology to as many patients as possible. Because you as a startup, it's very hard to approach all the doctors, if it's a B2B, of course, or the customers, if you are a B2C or B2B2C. And an exit allows you to bring your technology to as many doctors and patients as possible. So it's a mean, it's not a purpose. For young startups or any startup, of course, the holy grail is to be acquired by one of the big strategic players, which allows you to deploy the...
Enrique, please. And then my last question to each one of you, very quickly.
Yes, I think that when you are doing a smart lens, you realize that to do one smart lens, 90% is common to any smart lens. So you are building really a platform. So our exit, or the way we see it is that, of course, we need to create one application, but we need to join or M&A with a group that really wants to provide a set of solutions on a smart lens, because the efforts are there for one. So you need to leverage all the things that have been done to be sure that then you develop a pipeline of applications. So I think a big corporation that really wants to address many solutions at the same time will be the right partner to go.
In my last, we've been talking about, entrepreneurship. We've been talking about technologies. We've been talking about a little bit about the capital and exits. My last question is about, blind people. Blind people. Eventually, we've been seeing degenerative diseases and others. When, through bioconvergence or not, when is your estimation that in various segments, in different diseases, when blind people will be able to see again? Each one of you, please. An optimistic approach, if you will.
If I may just start, there are some applications, kind of BCI applications that they're already implanting sensors in the brain. I believe that we are closer than what we could thought. Maybe it might take 5 to 10 years, but we are going to see this in our professional lives sooner than what we believe or what is believed in general. We will see, people will see. There have been second sight and Pixium. It's very difficult. It will happen.
Daria.
At Belkin Vision, my previous company, we treated glaucoma, which is a blinding disease, and everyone is looking for the perfect solution, gene therapy, and how do you treat nerves? So I hope it will happen, but I don't think anyone knows when.
Almog, please.
So we are actually doing this these days. Our artificial cornea is in clinical trials. Some of our patients hadn't seen for 10, 20 years. We had patients that hadn't seen their grandchild, and even a patient in France never saw his daughter, and he's seeing 6/45, actually better than normal vision. It will probably take 5 to 10 years to expand and scale this business, but as far as corneal blindness, I think that at least in the areas that have access to treatment, we would see less and less of that. Our glaucoma shunt, which is implanted in glaucomatous dogs, has been proven to stop the progression of severe glaucoma. Pressure went down from 50 to the teens, and within 15 minutes of surgery, we've been able to stop this devastating blinding disease. So I think that for glaucoma and cornea, we have something that is just around the corner, but for retina, I think there's a long way ahead of us.
Yeah, I think as the doctor, I think this is not a simple answer. When you are living long enough or environment changing enough, there's always new reason or new cause to the blindness. Of course, the scientists will come a new way. So I would just say new challenge, new opportunity. There's always some new things you have been working on.
Cool. So we can see the future whereby people will see. Hopefully, I hope that will be our final statement. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much, my panel colleagues and the audience. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.